Hello everyone, it's Shane Kanto, your Wasteland reviewer, and I'm here to review Henry Johnson, and this is from writer-director David Mamet, and stars Evan Jonigkate, who plays the titular Henry Johnson, who makes a decision to try to help somebody that destroys his life and puts him in prison and sends him on a horrible crash course with morality and mortality. And this film really focuses on 4 scenes over the course of an hour and 25 minutes. And I think the very play presentation of this film is kind of limiting and really doesn't have the kind of cinematic energy to keep this 85-minute film really moving forward in the most engaging way. And you can tell that the presentation of this story is a little limiting, and after a while these scenes feel long, because they are. It's 85 minutes each of these. This film is only 4 chunks, basically, of all discussion and not a ton of action, at least up until the very end, where the story takes you into a very dark and very impactful finale. And you have a lot of interesting dialogue being spouted through the screenplay of Mamet. Mamet, obviously a very talented writer, a Pulitzer-winning writer, and this film really does have an interesting way of navigating through its themes. Now, its themes are kind of interesting because at the end of the day, this film feels like it has this very anti-compassion, very masculine, traditionally masculine male kind of perspective. And you have these characters that are reinforcing that, you have these actions that are reinforcing that, and it really sows this idea that you can't really trust people or rely upon compassion or be compassionate to people. And I think that's going to be a controversial perspective to try to navigate for audiences watching this film, but, you know, it is the perspective that the film presents, and it does it in an engaging way through its dialogue and well-written sequences. And from a directorial standpoint, there isn't a whole lot that's being done here that's dynamic or particularly interesting, but, you know, it's well shot. And the big thing is that performers, I think, Jonigkate does a fine job. Shia LaBeouf is probably one of the most interesting and dynamic elements to this film. He just brings an intensity and authenticity to this character who probably is not the best kind of mentor to Henry Johnson as he comes into prison. Dominic Hoffman and Chris Bauer also both do a fine job in their sequences in this film. I think the acting really elevates it. The writing is very sharp. I think this cinematic experience feels not like a cinematic experience and feels a bit limiting in terms of its presentation. And also it has some interesting themes to reckon with. But at the end of the day, it's still an impressive piece of art that is worth a watch, and to be fair, is only 85 minutes. But those are my thoughts on Henry Johnson. Let me know what you think, and let's talk some movies. But thank you as always for tuning in and supporting your Wasteland reviewer.